Quick question. If a brand new protein walked into a Michelin-starred kitchen tomorrow, something nobody had ever tasted, farmed, or plated, what would it take to earn a spot on the menu? Today's candidate, the dinosaur. I know what you're thinking. Too big, too wild, too prehistoric. The meat must be absolutely horrible. That assumption is wrong. Probably scientifically deliciously wrong. What this animal actually tastes like, I'm not telling you yet. But I will say this. The answer sits somewhere between ancient and extraordinary. What's extinct, is on the menu. Dinosauria, the undisputed rulers of Earth for over 160 million years. Homo sapiens? 300,000 years. We are an absolute footnote by comparison. They came in every configuration imaginable. Feathered sprinters the size of a turkey, armored tanks the weight of a jumbo jet, long-necked giants that could peer down at a 5-story building. Herbivores, carnivores, a few deeply confused omnivores. This isn't a nature documentary, this is a tasting menu, and our guest of honor has been resting for 66 million years. Let's wake it up. Course 1. The backstrap, the crown jewel. The reason we're here. The longissimus dorsi runs the full length of the spine, barely works a day in its life, which, from a culinary standpoint, is exactly the work ethic you want in a premium cut. On a large theropod, this muscle stretches for meters, actual meters of the most tender, low-stress meat the Cretaceous ever produced. Seared in brown butter. Finished with a bordelaise that took longer to make than most people's weekend plans. The A5 Wagyu of the Mesozoic. Full stop. Course 2. The Caudofemoralis. The cut that rewrites everything you know about butchery. Here's a fact that will rearrange your brain. In a bipedal dinosaur, your raptors, your tyrannosaurs, the largest single muscle in the entire body is not the thigh, not the shoulder. It is the tail muscle, the Caudofemoralis, the engine that drove every single step this animal ever took. Picture prime brisket. Now make it leaner, denser, richer. Now make it the size of a smart car. 12 hours over applewood smoke. Pulled. Served on brioche with pickles and zero apologies. American barbecue has been preparing for this moment its entire life. Course 3. The Titanosaur egg. One ingredient. Infinite possibilities. The Titanosaur laid eggs the size of a rugby ball. Thick calcium shell. And inside, a yolk so deeply golden, so obscenely rich, it makes duck egg look like it wasn't even trying. One egg. Enough hollandaise for an entire table. Enough custard to fill a stock pot. Enough creme brulee to make your cardiologist write you a formal letter. The applications are not a menu. They are a movement. Course 4. The Mega-Cartilage. The sleeper hit nobody saw coming. Here's the most underrated item in the brief. At the joint ends of a sauropod's bones, an animal pushing 70 tons, the cartilage isn't a thin layer. It is a structural slab, dense, built to absorb the weight of a continent. Braise it long enough, and it doesn't just soften, it dissolves into the darkest, most gelatinous master stock you have ever encountered. One sauropod knee joint. Enough ramen broth to run a restaurant for a week. Cantonese braising was invented for exactly this moment. Course 5. The bone marrow. Quiet luxury. Maximum impact. A sauropod femur, 2 meters of bone. Split it lengthwise, and you're not looking at a side dish. You're looking at a centerpiece. In the finest Cantonese roasting tradition, bone fat is not incidental. It is the entire point of the exercise. Here, that philosophy scales up to something genuinely unreasonable. Season simply. Serve on toast. Fleur de sel. Nothing else. The 66 million years of provenance does the rest. Course 6. The Gizzard. Sponsored by Geology. Before we cook the gizzard, we need to remove the rocks. Not metaphorical rocks. Actual rocks. Many dinosaurs swallowed smooth stones called gastroliths to grind food inside their bodies. Fossilized specimens have been found with a literal pile of polished pebbles sitting right where the stomach used to be. So step 1 of this preparation is excavate the gravel. Read that sentence again. Once the geology is out of the way, what remains is a dense muscular chamber that braises into something between Cantonese tripe and the world's most aggressively textured chicken gizzard. It is bizarre. It is delicious. It is somehow, inexplicably, both. Course 7. The brain. A line in the sand, not a dish. Some of you already knew this was coming. No. Prime adjacent risk. Zero sourcing control. No culinary tradition on Earth. French, Cantonese, American, none of them would go near this. It is not on the menu. It was never on the menu. We move on. The big reveal. So, the question you've been sitting with since the beginning. What does dinosaur actually taste like? The science gives us an answer. Dinosaurs' two closest living relatives are crocodilians and modern birds. The extended phylogenetic bracket, paleontology's gold standard method, draws a flavor corridor. One end, crocodile. Clean, mild, white muscle. The other end, ostrich. Deep, iron-rich, almost aggressively beefy. Now layer in the herbivores. Animals spending entire lifetimes grazing on ancient ferns, conifers, and flowering plants that no longer exist anywhere on this planet. That diet leaves a chemical signature in the muscle. Subtle, aromatic, something no modern livestock can replicate, because the plants themselves are gone. The carnivores? Lean, fast twitch, hard-working fiber closer to wild venison than anything in a grocery store. This is not one flavor, it is a range. And every course today lives somewhere on that range, from quietly composed to absolutely feral. 66 million years in the making, worth every minute. A word from our legal team, and also from basic physics. Time travel remains unregulated in most jurisdictions. Dinosaur cold chain infrastructure does not yet exist. But on the off chance you acquire fresh product, keep it cold immediately. Use dedicated boards and knives. Avoid cross-contamination at all costs, and cook everything thoroughly. Follow your local food safety authority, even in the Cretaceous, especially in the Cretaceous. One question before you go. Which course would make you book a table, and which one would make you cancel the reservation? Tell me in the comments. The most compelling culinary argument might just shape what's on the menu next episode. This has been Extinct Eats. What's extinct is on the menu.